today I'm going to be breaking down when topical authority doesn't work on your website. Now, this is a very commonly asked question that I get, like, hey Kaz, when does topical authority not work? Or how do I know topical authority is working for my website? Now, I have done a lot of videos on topical authority and how to structure your website and which articles you should upload, but I'm going to revisit it because it is actually something that I recently did get asked by someone in my actual private mastermind group. And in some cases, topical authority, you can go too broad and it can actually lower your rankings, or you might not actually increase your rankings by any means at all. And a few other things to actually add to this as well is, if any of you guys are potentially getting into SEO and you don't know what topical authority is, it's basically how Google determines if you are an authoritative figure in the space. So for example, if I am a law firm that only deals with divorces in London, for example, I know it's super niche, Google would actually want to see a lot of FAQs being answered on my website. They would want to see a lot of blog articles. They would want to see that I am actually demonstrating that I am an expert by answering all of the commonly asked questions on my website. So that's what topical authority is. It's basically the amount of documents that you actually have and the amount of traffic you're actually getting to those documents as well. But in some cases, topical authority doesn't work because people end up going too broad, or they don't end up staying in their own lane. And we're going to break that down in today's video. So for example, if I was to just search a random keyword, something like lawyers in London, let's say, we'll look at a few different examples, because I understand that some of you guys, you might not be small businesses, you might be more e-commerce and stuff like that, right? But if I was to take a look at these websites here, we'll take a look at, actually, do you know what? We'll go a little bit more niche. We'll actually even look at divorce lawyers in London, right? And we'll go to like page 4, let's say. So let's take a look at, we'll take a look at these guys, right? So Vanderpump and Sykes.co.uk is the website that we're looking at. If any of you guys want to follow along, that's the website that we're actually looking at. Now, a few things about this website. It's actually done a fairly decent job of covering family law. Like, it's talking about adoption, it's talking about child issues, civil partnerships, cohabitation, divorce, family finances, financial provision for children, injunctions, international aspects, prenup, separation agreements, unmarried couples, FAQs, and testimonials, right? So from a first glance, you would think, well, actually, these guys are doing pretty well. Why have you decided to pick on them? I have just randomly selected the website. But if I was to go to page 1 and see who is ranking, right? So for example, Osborne Law, right? These are the this is the website that's ranking position 1. If I was to just search divorce, so all I've done there, by the way, just so you guys can see, is I've done site:/osbornelaw.com /divorce, which shows me all of the articles on that website that is only solely talking about divorces, right? So bearing in mind, these are the position 1 result, and they've got, take this with a pinch of salt, 1,290 web pages live on their website talking about divorce, right? Now, if we were to do the exact same thing for Vanderpump and Sykes.co.uk, right? So if we do the exact same thing, site:/, and if we do divorce, and if we click on here, as you can see, they've only got 167 results. So there's a massive discrepancy when it comes to divorce documents on their website. So what I would be doing here now is I'm going to be using a Google Sheet that you guys actually can get access to. It is basically going to find us actual articles on this website. So I'm going to just pull it up in just a second. So this is the actual article finder. If you guys do want access to this, like what I mentioned before, it is down in the description. You can get access to it, and it will actually help you a lot when it comes to topical authority, because I've coded a custom prompt in here. By the way, very quickly, if you guys do get access to this, click on File and then make a copy. Otherwise, you won't be able to edit it. So click on File, make a copy, and you'll be able to fully edit it. But what we're going to do here is we're going to go to the position 1 website that's ranking. So it's osbornelaw.com. And we're going to go to the robots.txt. And we're going to find the actual sitemap for this website, right? So we're going to grab the sitemap, and we're going to essentially grab the URLs here, right? So if we just grab this URL, and if we just copy that into here, so I'll just zoom in so you guys can see, right? So we can actually put in a keyword here as well. So we're just going to do this, and we're just going to close it off, right? Now, basically what that prompt actually does for us is it's going to tell us, or it's going to give us all of the articles that are live on that website to do with actual divorce. Now, if we actually take a look at this website from a top-down point of view, right, just looking at the website in general, this website isn't solely talking about just divorce law. It's talking about notary, it's talking about medical negligence, housing, private client, property, family, personal injury. Now, where a lot of people mess up when it comes to topical authority is they will look at the websites that rank in positions 1, 2, and 3, and they'll say, right, okay, position 1 has 500 articles, position 2 has 510 articles, position 3 has 560 articles. I only have 50. That means there's a massive deficit of at least 450 articles. I'm just going to go and blindly get 450 articles written only because my positions 1, 2, and 3 have it. Now, what this sheet smartly does is it actually picks out all of the articles that are to do with divorce. So if I wanted to rank for divorce law, maybe I'm already ranking really well for housing and social care law and property law, but the one silo that I'm lacking on is the divorce silo. This is going to do all the work for us. Look, it's already given us just shy of 20 articles that our competitor has that we don't have. So for example, we've got an article here on court appeal makes landmark divorce ruling. We've got an article on 6 tips help children divorces. What is collaborative divorce? Divorce wills. So as you can see, we've very quickly built up a silo to do with actual divorce. So all we're going to do is we're just going to copy this over to our article finder tab, right? And what this tab does is it will actually, if we just paste in all of these articles, it's going to actually give us the subheadings for all of the actual articles. So all I have done is just pasted the actual URLs from the sitemap that we got into our heading grabber, and what this is basically going to do is it's just going to grab all of the H1s of the blog articles. Now in some cases it can take a little bit of time because what it's basically doing is it is actually scraping the blog content. So basically what this prompt does is it goes to the blog article and it grabs the H1. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it for maybe 2 minutes, and we're going to get back once it's actually grabbed the subheadings. So as you can see here, we've actually got the subheadings here. There is one article that they actually have that I believe is in like French. So we're just going to ignore that one. I'm not certain why they have targeted that. They might be going after like the French market as well. But as you can see, we can literally just grab any of these actual articles. It does take a couple minutes to actually get the H1, but if you think of it, you are going to a website and you're scraping their actual H1 to make certain that you've actually got that article or not. One thing that I will also do is I'm just going to delete the French article, right? But as you can see, like we've got a lot of different questions. So like, for example, who gets the house in a divorce, how to get a divorce in the UK, the same-sex divorce processes, gay divorce tests, civil partnerships. This one's just literally just come in. Approving consent order in high-value divorce case would be wrong. capital gains tax on divorce. So all of these are actually articles to do with actual divorce law. And what we can also do as well is we can actually do the exact same process that we've just done here for our competitor, for our own website. And we can essentially see which related articles we actually have on our website. So, for example, if I go back to the example that I was showing you guys before, right? So this was the website that was positioned like 40, I believe, for divorce law. And if we do the exact same thing, and if we do sitemap.xml, right? And, okay, this website doesn't have a sitemap. That's going to be a little bit tricky. Robots.txt. What about sitemap.html? They don't seem to have a sitemap, which is really strange. I mean, that is a little bit of a technical issue. Let's see what happens here. Divorce. So they've only got one page to do with divorce. They've not got like any of the actual FAQs. But what I was going to say is what you can do is, I've got a prompt here, right? So what we could have done is we could have had our website here. Actually, do you know what? Let me try and find you guys in a proper example so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. If I do divorce lawyers in London, right? So again, we'll go to like page number 8. Somebody that's just not ranking at all, right? If I go to, so they've got a few pages here, right? So if I do I'll do robots.txt again. Hopefully these guys, they do have a sitemap, right? So all I'm doing is I'm just checking their sitemap, right? They've only got one page in their sitemap. Why have they got one? Okay, this website also isn't the best. Let's see. I hate to do this to you guys, but you're going to need to continue watching. Sitemap.xml. Come on, please. Right, okay, so these guys, they do have actually posts. So what I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to pretend that this is my website, right? So I'm just going to do copy, and I'm going to do the exact same process as what I done to osbornelaw.com, right? So I'm just going to paste in our sitemap URL, and I'm just going to keep the keyword as being divorce, right? Because right now, all I care about is one silo. So I'm just going to hit enter. And we're going to wait for this to go and grab all of the divorce-related articles, right? So we're going to have a few here. Yeah, so they've got a fair amount of divorce-related articles. The reason why these guys might not be ranking, by the way, might be links-related, right? It might not be topical authority-related. But as you can see, there are a lot of articles here, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy... I'm going to, first of all, head over to ChatGPT. And once ChatGPT has loaded, we're going to go to the end tab. This is the third tab, right? So I'm just going to copy this prompt. And where it says insert your website articles, right? I'm just going to grab all of these web articles, right? So these are the actual articles that are on our website. So we're just going to paste these in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to copy all of these and we're going to paste this in here. And basically what this prompt does, so if we actually read this prompt while ChatGPT is doing its thing, is here are my blog articles on my website, insert your website blog articles. Here are blog articles from my competitors. Can you look at articles and remove any duplicates and show me the articles that I'm missing in a table format? Now, the reason why we're doing this is because, first of all, we don't want any content cannibalization. There might be some articles that we already have on our website, but we want to just cross-reference it against our competitor articles to see what are actually missing in our divorce silo. So while this is doing its thing, wow, this is taking a lot slower than what I thought it would. Usually ChatGPT is quick, but what what I'll do is I'll pause the video while this is doing its thing, and we'll get back to it in just a couple of seconds. So as you can see here, there are actually 4 articles that were missing out of, how many articles did we give it? We gave it a grand total of 8. So we actually gave it 8 articles. It's found 4 duplicates, and it's eliminated those 4 duplicates, and it's come back with, these are the actual 4 articles that we actually need live on our website. And to be fair, they're actually pretty decent articles. So like the same-sex divorce process, somebody that's searching that, they're going to be interested in divorces. How to get a divorce in the UK, again, somebody that's searching that, pretty interested in the actual divorce process. Or actually, sorry, all 8 have come back saying that they aren't duplicates. My bad. I didn't know that there was a scroll section. So how to get a divorce in the UK, who gets the house in a divorce, financial responsibilities of father in a divorce, capital gains tax on a divorce, gay divorce, so on and so forth. So all 8 of the actual articles that we gave it, that website didn't actually have. Bearing in mind how big this website actually is, it's a fairly big website. So that's actually how Topical Authority works. Now, a few things to just bear in mind prior to you guys going and doing this. When you're scaling out a website, like, you might have 5 or 6 different services that you actually provide. Like, for example, if we take a look at another website, right? If we do plumbers in Manchester, for example, right? If we take a look at these guys, or actually, we'll look at localplumbers.co.uk. Actually, this website isn't great. Manchester's a fairly easy area to rank in. We'll go after like plumbers in New York, let's say, right? We'll take a look at these guys, right? So what you need to remember when you're looking at Topical Authority, more so for like or actually for any website, is the fact that there are multiple services that you can actually provide. So for example, commercial plumbing is its own silo. Treat that as its own respective small mini website. Same goes with like emergency plumbing. If say for example, any of you guys, like if you are in the actual plumbing industry, you'll know that some plumbers actually do like full on bathroom installations. That's its own actual silo as well. So just try and break a website down like that. Same goes with like e-commerce stores as well. So for example, I always go to this store mainly because they do a really good job. So for example, this is vapestore.co.uk, and they've got like e-liquids, and they've treated that as being one respective silo. They've got disposable vapes, and that is one respective silo. I'm losing my voice here. Vape kits, that's one respective silo. Pod kits, tanks, pods, coils. Break down your website like that, and when you are doing this process that I've just shown you guys, right, make certain that you upload all of the articles and then move on to another silo. If you're just doing like a content gap, like a regular content gap on Ahrefs, it's great, don't get me wrong. However, you want to be categorizing and prioritizing certain articles. So for example, if we take a look at 3 different vape stores, and they've got all an average of 800 pages live, and I only have 50 pages live. That's not to say that I need to get 750 pages live in one go, right? I might decide, right, okay, over the next 3 months, I'm going to focus on only uploading, let's say, 150 articles to do with e-liquids. Then I'm going to go and upload, let's say, 60 articles to do with disposable vapes. Then, I've got missing, 150, 200 articles to do with vape kits. That's how I structure my websites when it comes to Topical Authority. That's how I've found the best results. Otherwise, if you're just uploading, let's say, 2 articles to e-liquids, 3 articles to vape, disposable vapes, 1 article to vape kits, it's kind of like a what I like to call a machine gun approach. You've realized that you've got, let's say, 300 articles missing, but you've not got any guidance. You're not actually guiding your website anywhere, and at that point, even Google's confused when it comes to actually crawling and indexing your actual website. But if you guys have enjoyed this, please remember to leave a like, and if you guys do want a strategy call with myself, maybe you want to work with me, make certain to check out casualdash.com, click on the work with me button and fill in the form, and I will get back to you. Thanks for watching. So I wanted to create this video on topical authority so you guys can actually understand, first of all, how many articles, or roughly how many articles your website will need for it to rank and outcompete your competitors. But second of all, actually how to figure out like what articles are needed on your website. Because a lot of people, what they will do is they'll like load up Ahrefs, for example, and they will just export a load of keywords to do with their actual industry. And it's not necessarily always the best way to gain topical authority doing that. What you need to be doing is a little bit more strategic and actually publishing articles where your users are actually searching for as well. And in some cases, the tools won't actually give you that information. So, for example, right, if I was to search, let's say, divorce attorney in, we'll do Orlando, right? So obviously you've got all of these different law firms, but one thing that we want to make certain that we're also doing as well is we should be looking at the people also ask. So in some cases, what people do is they will search the seed keyword, so divorce attorney in Orlando, but then they might actually search for some of these questions. So how much does a divorce lawyer cost in Orlando? So they might actually, from a user journey point of view, just so you guys understand, right? If I'm looking for a divorce attorney, right, I might be searching this and clicking through to these 3 different results. And I might even fill in the contact form on 3 or 4 different results and try and get a quote and stuff. But the next question that somebody will actually naturally have is, well, I've got 3 quotes back. How much does a divorce attorney cost in Orlando? And if you don't have this article or this question on your website, it means that you're lacking topical authority. So, for example, if we take a look at some of these actual law firms, they're obviously in Florida, and they have got a dedicated article on how much does a divorce cost in Florida. And it's just a full-on detailed blog article. And if we go through here, a lot of the cases, what you want to be doing when you are looking at any of these people also ask questions is trying to figure out if it deserves its own page. So if I was going to be creating a website to do with divorce attorneys in Orlando, right, I might have one service page. I'm actually going to create a Google Sheet on this now so you guys can see what I'm on about, right? So divorce attorney in Orlando, that definitely deserves its own location or service-based page, whatever you want to actually call it, right? So this is like pretty much bottom of the funnel. Somebody that's searching this keyword, they're pretty much ready to inquire. How much does a divorce lawyer cost in Orlando, right? Now, what I'm trying to do is I'm Googling all of these different questions and the people also ask, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, do they deserve their own page or should they be part of another page? So, for example, how much does a divorce cost in Florida, right? If we go through, what I'm looking at specifically is I'm looking at all of these different page titles. Now, the one time or the times where I wouldn't create its own page is if all of these results, or if a majority of these results were also ranking for this keyword. That would tell me that instead of having a dedicated page for how much does a divorce lawyer cost in Orlando, right? I would just have that as a H2 or a question on this actual service page. So in this case, I'm actually going to create a page for how much does a divorce cost, and this is more middle of the funnel. So that's that. Let's take a look at some others as well. Also, another thing that you can do is you've got people also ask every time you open these questions, you expand them and then you close them, you're going to get more questions. So what type of lawyer is best for a divorce? You could even do the modifier in Orlando, right? We'll do this, not now. Finding a decent divorce lawyer. So this could be another article that we could actually publish. And again, this would be like top of the funnel. And slowly but surely we are basically covering topics that people would actually have. So does the husband have to pay for the wife's divorce lawyer in Florida? So let's just see. Who pays the legal fees in a divorce in Florida? This would probably be a little bit more attuned. Can I make my spouse pay for my divorce? So again, I'm just going to add this one. And again, this is probably like middle of the funnel. And we are basically just going to be continuously doing that. So, for example, do I have to pay for my wife's lawyer in a divorce, right? So this is going to be a question to actually have on our previous page. So remember the page that we just added here, who pays legal fees in a Florida divorce, right? This would actually be a subheading on that page. It doesn't deserve its own page, and the reason for that is if we actually analyze both of these two SERPs, right? Do I have to pay for my wife's if we search this one, right? So if we take a look at these set of results, right? So you've got Bruce Law PA, and Bruce Law PA is here, right? Then you've got AO and ICANN, and that is position number 2. So they've literally just swapped for the second and first spots. Then you've got the Law Office of Travis R. Walker. The Law Office of Travis R. Walker. That's not actually ranking for that keyword. Let's just see. Travis Law. There it is there. Right, so these are all fairly similar-ish keywords. So who pays legal fees in Florida for a divorce? Do I have to pay for my wife's lawyer in a divorce in Florida? And does the husband have to pay for the wife's divorce lawyer in Florida? All of these are basically the exact same article. You might just need to include one of these subheadings on the actual seed page. So if you're creating a page on who pays the legal fees in a Florida divorce, you have the do I have to pay for my wife's lawyer in a divorce in Florida. A little bit of a tongue twister, that question, but people are actually asking it, so you need to actually include it on your page. Does the losing party pay legal fees in Florida? Right, so if I do for a divorce, right, who pays? So again, this is a question that we would also have on that page as well as a subheading. So we've actually got 2 questions now on that. And instead of actually creating a dedicated page, that's the worst thing that you could do in that scenario, because again, the results are very, very, very similar. So you've got IOKIN again. You've got the Law Office of Travis R. Walker, PA. You've got Orlando DivorceLawyers.net, and that was also in another set of results. I believe it's here. So when you're doing this, if you're doing this quick enough, and if you're going through, blasting through loads of questions, you will
fairly quickly understand which pages deserve its own page, or which queries deserve its own page and which don't. So if we go back to the actual search, and another thing as well, right? When you delete your search query, Google will also give you related searches as well. So like how to get attorney fees paid in a divorce, right? And again, we'll do Florida. I am obviously in the UK, so getting a little bit of set of mixed results. But again, this should probably be a question on our actual page here. So who pays legal fees in a Florida divorce? So let's see what other divorce attorney Orlando. So let's just see, how much does a divorce cost? What type of lawyer is best for a divorce? How long does it take to get a divorce in Orlando, Florida? So let's just see, how long does it take to get an uncontested divorce? So again, this deserves to be on its own page. So then we've got middle of the funnel, and very slowly we are creating topical authority to do with divorce attorneys. Now, one thing to bear in mind as well is that this section would only be for divorce attorneys. You need to do this for every single service. So for example, right, if I just merge these, this would be for our divorce attorney category section, right? So if I just color this in, just so it's a little bit more cleaner to look at, this all deserves to be one section. Then we would, if we were like a law firm, for example, we would probably need to do the exact same thing for, let's say, DUI cases, right? So if I was to do DUI attorney in Orlando, right? So this would be, again, one page to actually include. DUI attorney category. And then we've got all of these pages, which are all just service or location-based pages, whichever you want to deem them as. But then you've also got questions like, how much does a DUI attorney cost in Florida? And the thing is, like, when you're going through a lot of these different services, what you'll typically find is that a lot of the questions, especially in law, for example, it's going to be fairly similar. Like even if I was to do like dentists, for example, right? If I was to do dentists very quickly, dentists Manchester, right? You're going to obviously get like these questions, but like dentist checkup Miami, we'll just do that, right? How much does it cost to get your teeth done in Miami? What is included in a dentist checkup? Can you go to the dentist checkup for a checkup? Or can you go to the dentist for a checkup? How often should you get a dental checkup, right? But the reason why I'm searching this is if we were to do like teeth whitening Miami, right? It's always going to be, or majority of the time, it's going to be to do with cost. So how much does it cost? How much does teeth whitening cost in Miami? Same with like DUI attorneys. So if you've got a certain service-based website that you're actually trying to rank, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to need to either have a question on a page to do with cost for that service, or have a dedicated page to do with cost for that service. So, for example, how much does a lawyer charge for a DUI case? DUI attorneys, how much does a DUI cost? Yeah, so we are going to need to create our own page for that. And again, every time I'm searching a question as well, I'm always looking at the people also ask. So how much does a lawyer cost for a DUI in Florida, right? Again, fairly similar to what we've actually just searched. How much does it cost to get out of a DUI in Florida? Again, fairly similar to what we've just searched. Should I get a lawyer for a DUI in Florida? This would probably be a separate page. So let's take a look. Should I get a lawyer for a DUI in Florida? Do you need a attorney for a DUI Florida? Is it worth? Yeah. So again, for that, I would get a page written about that. And again, I'm just going to color coordinate stuff so you guys can see it a little bit easier. But as you can see, we're starting to build out the topical authority for each section. And again, as a rule of thumb, right? A lot of websites, they don't even create any of these blog articles. Literally all they'll do is they will have the divorce attorney in Orlando, DUI attorney in Orlando, immigration attorney Orlando, right? They will literally just have the main seed pages and they won't have any supporting articles. So as a rule of thumb, get 5 articles for each service. Obviously this is going to depend on like the difficulty of that keyword. Like for example, DUI attorneys Orlando, you might need more supporting articles, but just as a rule of thumb, if you've not done any topical authority, if this is kind of like the first time you're looking to rank for keywords, like your main service-based keywords higher, right? Just as a rule of thumb, go and get 4 articles per service. So for example, let's just take a look at these guys, right? So these guys, they've got a load of different services here. If we take a look, right, they've got practice areas. So they've got domestic violence, drug crimes, misdemeanors, homicide, murders, violent crimes, sex crimes, theft crimes, burglary, fire alarm violations, white collar crimes, right? So for each of these individual services, go and get 4 or 5 as an absolute minimum. So if you're getting 5, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you should at least have 50 blogs to do with each service. So 5 for each blog. And to be fair, these guys, they seem to know what they're actually doing. What you want to make certain that you are doing from these blogs as well. So like, for example, how much is a divorce cost in Florida? Let's just load up whoever's ranking for this. What you need to be doing is this website being hacked? Yeah, this website's been hacked. Okay, so we will ignore that first one. We'll go to the second result. So if we take a look here, right, what you should be doing is making certain that you're internal linking to other pages throughout this actual section. So for example, they've got a page to do with division of shared property, which again, pretty important if you're going to go through a divorce, right? Because if you might have a partner and you might have a house together and you want to make certain like who gets the house or how do we divide the property out. You've got alimonies, you've got simplified dissolution of marriage, without shared property or children, with children. So again, who gets the children? So they've got internal links to all of these different actual pages going through it all. So that's what you need to be doing. So if, say for example, you might end up having 25 articles to do with divorce attorneys in Orlando, right? You want to make certain that everything's getting internally linked to. Just think of somebody that's landing on a page. What would they potentially have a question about, or what would they potentially search about after reading that first article on your website? And if you, for example, if you've got, how long does it take to get a divorce in Florida, right? Their next question might be who gets the kids after a divorce in Florida, right? And what you should be doing is obviously having that as an article, but also internally linking from this article to that other blog post. Let's just see what these guys are doing. Divorce attorney. So they are internally linking to their main divorce attorney page here, which is a good start because that's the page that's going to get you all of the leads. But let's see, kids. They don't actually internally link to it, but they might not have a family law attorney. So this could definitely be part of that. But let's see if somebody has got kids. contested divorce. So like they actually do have parenting plans as well, and then they've internally linked to family law attorneys as well. So this is what I mean. You need to kind of put your mindset in the thought process of what would somebody search after reading this blog article, and making certain that you actually internally link to that blog article as well. But that's been a video on topical authority. I hope that that has made a lot of sense. Just remember to always look at the people also ask, and make certain that if you're going to be writing a article on one of these questions to do with the people also ask, if it deserves its own page. Analyze the SERP. But if you guys have enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like. And as always, if you guys do want a growth strategy call for your website, maybe you're struggling to rank, check out casualdash.com. The link will be in the description. Fill in the contact form and I will be in touch. Thanks. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I achieve topical authority. Now, there are obviously a lot of videos out there talking about how topical authority works, what it is. Now, for people that are just getting into SEO, this is what topical authority is. So topical authority measures how comprehensive a website covers a specific subject. So for example, if we were a law firm, how in-depth is our website from Google looking at all of our pages talking about law, for example. Now, if we were to take a look at my own website, I'm just going to use this as a quick example because I've already got it loaded up. I've got casualdash.com/SEO, and then this is my SEO silo, and then I'm obviously talking about, for example, fundamentals of SEO, what it is, how SEO works, the 3 pillars of SEO, SEO strategy for businesses, and then we're also talking about technical SEO. Then we're talking about content, then we're talking about off-page, and then we're also talking about like AI, SEO, the framework. So I'm also giving away like checklists and stuff like that as well. Now, from a topical authority point of view, this is a very planned out website. And if we were to take a look at all the pages that are live on my website, as you can see, we've got the fundamentals here, we've got technical SEO here, we've got link building and off-page SEO here, we've got content SEO here, we've got AI, and then we've also got some frameworks, which is like some freebies like keyword research templates and stuff like that I'm also giving away for free. So when if Google was to come and crawl our website, it would understand that we fully know what SEO is, and because we're talking about all of the different types of SEO, we're talking about just educational articles, which is just talking about how it works, what it is. We're talking about technical articles, so how to run a screaming frog audit, how to do a technical SEO audit. We're talking about off-page SEO, so how to build authority, all the different methods to the madness. Then we've got like a content marketing or on-page SEO silo. Then AI, and then SEO frameworks, which is our checklists and stuff. Now, all I've done here is I've just searched for law firm for divorce. And if we take a look at these guys, McGuire Family Law, they're position number 3. I didn't want to take a look at like these guys, for example, because they are a directory website. I wanted to actually take a look at a website that provides the service. Now, as you can see, these guys have done very similar to what I've done, where they've grouped out all of their services, they've got location pages and stuff. And if we were to take a look at their sitemap, for example, they've got all of their actual blog articles, their service pages, they've literally got everything in here. So all I've done is I have just went into their sitemap, copied their entire sitemap, went to a tool like Claude. You can even use ChatGPT for something like this. Claude, one thing I will say is that Claude is a lot better for longer tasks. So obviously these guys, they had like 200 sitemap or 200 pages in their sitemap. For something like this, I would probably use Claude as opposed to ChatGPT. And then obviously we've got the topical map. So this is their core website pages. So obviously every website, especially if you're in the law firm industry, you would want like a homepage, an about us, contact us, meet the team page, testimonials, a careers possibly, privacy policy, terms and conditions, and then complaints. So these are all what I would call navigational, apart from the testimonials page, obviously, because it's a little bit more social proof. Then we've got the location pages. So again, if we were to take a look at this website here, they do have locations that they actually serve. So as you can see, if I move my face, actually I'll reduce the size of my face, right? They've got Altrincham, Manchester, Knutsford, Stockton, Heath, London, and Wilmslow. Now, obviously, if you don't serve in those areas, you might decide to change these areas to, let's say, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Carlisle, and like maybe you're in Scotland, or maybe you're in Orlando, and you might change these to Orlando, Miami, Kissimmee, and a few other places, right? So these location pages will obviously change. But then we've also got cluster free as well. So cluster free are like main service categories. So we've got divorce and separation, no fault divorce, high net worth divorce, LGBTQ divorce, religious divorce, expat, so on and so forth. So these are like the divorce and separation. Then we've got financial matters. So these are more for like financial resolutions, so like pensions, business divorce, stuff like that. Then we've got like child and family. So these would all be service pages. Then if we keep scrolling down, so then we have got the team manager pages. So these, you would probably not want to include these on your website. Then we've got blog content as well. So again, I'm just going to use a really simple prompt here. Like, can you give me this in a table format and cluster them into supporting articles and main service pages as well? We're going to hit go. The reason why I've done that is because, for example, this website, they have got dedicated pages for all of their team members. That might not be something that we would want to do for our website. So now, as you can see here, it's given us an entire topical map for this random law firm. So if we were like going to be doing this for our own website, what I would recommend is exactly what I've just done. Go and find a competitor that's already ranking for the keyword that obviously provides the service. Obviously make certain that you don't just look at, for example, a directory website. This is like a website that just lists a lot of different law firms. There's tons of these out there. Like even if we were to search like law firm in New York, there's like a couple in New York that are like justia.com. They're basically like the Yelp for law firms, right? So if I was to do that, let's see. So yeah, you've got Legal 500. So this is, again, it just lists a different loaded law firms. So you want to avoid websites like those. You actually want to take a look at law firms, or for example, if you're a dentist, for example, if we do dentist in New York, right? We could do the exact same thing. So we could load up 209 NYC dentist. We could go to their sitemap.xml. And we can obviously find, now in some cases, websites have like a post and a page sitemap. So you might just need to do 2 copy and paste. So I would basically copy this, paste it into Claude, and then copy their pages and then also paste it into Claude. But let's see what Claude has obviously come back with now. So we've got our main service pages. So these would be divorce separation, no fault divorce, high level net worth divorce. Then you've obviously got the support and article here. So in this case, I would have this set up as an actual page. Let's just see how these guys have done it. So no fault divorce, for example, this is an actual page, right? And then you would obviously create a blog article as well. So choosing a divorce solicitor, for example. Now, in some cases, these guys will have more blog articles to do with certain silos. So for example, divorce without access to finances, right? So if I was to search that, as you can see, there's a lot of blog articles that you should be covering. And again, this is their blog article here, divorces without access to finances. Then if we take a look here, divorce cooling off period. Let's see if they actually rank for that. They actually don't, but They will have that page on their website. Let's take a look here. Final divorce granted by mistake. And again, they've got a blog article. Now, when you're actually building out these blog articles, you should also make certain that you are actually internally linking back up to your service pages. And what I mean by that is, so these are all supporting articles here. So this entire thing all the way down here is a support. So if I actually just copy this into a Google Sheet, so as you can see, this is a little bit cleaner and nicer to also look at as well. So these would be our financial claims pages. Or for example, if we were to actually take a look at our divorce pages here, right? Take a look, scroll all the way down, copy this. And if we just delete that, we'll stick to divorces because that's what we've been talking about already. So these are our divorce pages, right? Now these guys, they have got 81 supporting blog articles internally linking to these 12 pages. Or is it 12? I think it's actually 10. Yeah, it's about 10 pages. So like no fault divorces. So for example, if I was to look at what if I change my mind once divorce starts, right? Let's take a look and see if they actually rank for that. Yes, that's them there. Now, as you can see here, they're constantly internally linking back up to their divorce separation page, for example. And if we take a look here, divorce separation. Okay, it's the very top one, right at the top here. So this is internally linked back up to this. And the reason why they're doing that is because it's passing a lot more page rank and internal link juice through to this page. Now, if you think of it, right, these blog articles, they will typically fall into two categories. And that would be, for example, middle of the funnel or top of the funnel. Now, when I talk about top of the funnel or middle of the funnel, they are basically a lot easier to rank for when you are going after top of the funnel keywords. Now, if we actually go back to Claude one last time, and if we say, can you also create a column for the supporting articles and labeling them up as either bottom or top of the funnel. Now this is a better diagram to take a look at. So obviously we've got top of the funnel. So top of the funnel keywords would be like easy cake recipes for beginners. Now the slight issue with a keyword like this is it's very much an awareness stage. Now if we, for example, had an e-commerce store selling stand mixers, right? Some business owners, if you were doing the SEO for that website, would take a look at this page and be like, why are we talking about the easy cake recipes? Because first of all, nobody searching that would be interested in buying our stand mixers. However, the slight or the positive side to having this is obviously if we're talking about easy cake recipes for beginners, we're demonstrating to Google that we obviously know how to bake a cake. We have got the experience to talk about that subject. But then at middle of the funnel, for example, might be best cake baking tools, for example. And then obviously we can internal link to our cake stand mixers, or our stand mixers, should I say. Now, when it comes to topical authority, we would obviously want to mention all three of these. So we would want to have top of the funnel, we would want to have middle of the funnel, and we would also want to have bottom of the funnel. The issue you've got with if we were to just ignore middle and top of the funnel and only start producing articles to do with bottom of the funnel keywords is we've not demonstrated to Google that we're experts. Google would just take one quick look at our website, it would crawl our website once and say, hey, these guys, they've not got any middle of the funnel, they've not got any top of the funnel. In that case, it does look very spammy to Google. Any natural website or any website that's doing well would have all three of these type of articles. Hence why this is probably one of the biggest reasons as to why SEO takes so much time, because we need to make certain that we're covering top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and also bottom of the funnel. Now let's go back to Claude and let's take one last copy and paste of this. Let's take a look here. Copy this into our Google Sheet. Paste it in. So this is what it basically looks like. This is what we've got. So we've got our main service pages here. These would be the pages that when somebody lands on these pages, they would obviously end up converting, filling out a contact form, phoning our law firm, for example. Here is our supporting articles. So obviously we've got we've got some that's obviously bottom of the funnel. We've got some that are top of the funnel. Have we got any middle of the funnel articles? We actually don't have any middle of the funnel articles, which is totally fine. In some industries, you just don't have many middle of the funnel articles. One example of a middle of the funnel article, because I also do want to cover middle of the funnel articles, would be Invisalign versus braces, for example, the pros and cons to each. Or, for example, if you are an e-commerce store, maybe you're trying to rank higher for vape pens, for example, that would be something like vape pens versus pod. Now, that's you're basically comparing two different services. Now, in some cases, you don't have any middle of the funnel. Like in this case, it's pretty clear if somebody's trying to get a divorce, what they actually want. Let me just double check. There isn't any. Yeah, there is no middle of the funnel in this silo, which is totally fine. So then here we've obviously got our supporting articles. Now, when you are publishing your supporting articles, you always want to make certain that you're constantly internal linking back up to one of these pages when it obviously makes sense. Because in that case, if somebody was to, for example, read the DIY divorce warnings or beware the online divorces or any of these supporting articles, you constantly want to make certain that you're trying to push that person that's landed on your blog article to one of these pages. Like, for example, no fault divorce, right? If somebody's looking at this article here, you would want to internally link back up to one of these, because in that case, you are increasing your chances of them actually filling in a contact form with you for them to actually hire your actual law firm, for example. This trick I've shown you, you can obviously do this with any website. If we actually take a look at Claude here, it's actually given us well over like 300 articles that we can obviously publish onto our website. So that's cluster 2, for example. This is cluster 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see how many clusters it's actually given us in total. So we've got 20 clusters in total, which it would be well more than enough to actually rank. Now, obviously, we've just went and done this across the website that's actually ranking number 1 for divorce law, or I think it was number 2 or 3 for divorce law. So obviously, if it works for them, it's going to work for us. But you also want to make certain that you're not just completely replicating everything that they've got. Now, it's fine that Claude has given us 20 different clusters to replicate, but you would obviously want to scan over these clusters and make certain that it obviously makes sense to publish onto your website, because in a lot of cases, what one business does and provides, it won't be the exact same for another business. So just scan through all of these articles and make certain that you obviously, first of all, provide the same services. Second of all, the blog articles obviously make sense for you to actually publish onto your website as well. Now, that has been my video on Topical Authority, how to dominate Google rankings in 2026. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like. Also subscribe, because I am doing daily SEO videos as well. And if you want to work with me, head over to casualdash.com, fill in the contact form. The link for this blog article, if you guys want to scan through it in your own time, will be in the description. Thanks for watching.
If you struggle with keyword research, watch this. I'm going to walk you through a simple free method that gives you unlimited topics instantly. And it will also help with your topical authority as well. If you haven't already, download mySEO.app. The link will be in the description. We've got live streams. We have a community section. And if you are ever struggling with SEO, you can always ask in the app as well. It's also completely free to use. Now, if you take a look at any website that is ranking well, they have got what's called topical authority. So this is NerdWallet's SEO topic cluster example. And basically for each of these actual topic clusters, they will have top of funnel keywords, middle of funnel keywords, and also bottom of funnel keywords as well. So if you want to try and rank for mortgages, you're going to need all three to then be able to be deemed as a topical authority within the mortgage sector. Same goes with investing, credit cards, etc. So here's an example for mortgages as well. So now with AI overviews, you can actually chat with it. So as you can see here, for top of funnel or awareness stage, we would have like educational blog posts. So for example, how much deposit do I need for a first home, or renting versus buying a UK comparison, right? So these are all top of funnel related to mortgages. Then we've obviously got middle of funnel. So for example, how can I borrow? And then you could have like a quiz, for example, or you could have like understanding different mortgage types, fixed versus variable rates. And then last but very not least, we would have our bottom of funnel / conversion stage. Now, when somebody is searching for, like, let's say mortgage broker Manchester, somebody has already done their research of top of funnel and also middle of funnel. So they already know what the differences are between, let's say, a fixed rate or a variable rate. They already know how much deposit they need. And now they are in need of a actual mortgage broker or somebody to actually help them apply for their mortgage. This is how every website should be structured. Now, some websites might have accidentally done this without knowing it, but you want to have awareness style articles, you want to have consideration and also decision. So top of funnel, middle of funnel, and also bottom of funnel. So a few ways that you can obviously find some of these keywords. Method number one would be the Google alphabet soup method or the Google autocomplete. So you can actually search certain queries and it will give you a list of searches that people are actually searching. So for example, accountants for, and then you can obviously go down the list of A through to Z. So you could have a dedicated page to do with accountants for actors, authors, artists, associates, assets for a joint venture. So you can do stuff like that. And obviously you can load up any of these web pages. And as you can see here, these guys are obviously, they've got a dedicated page for accountants for artists. Then if we work through the list, so this is accountants for architects. And as you can see here, this is another website that's going after that keyword, so accountants for architects. But you can do this for any niche as well. So you could do this for like web design for, and then you can do like law firms, you can do plumbers, you can do business. These would all basically be dedicated pages. So if we scroll past the actual PPC ads, as you can see, this is an actual dedicated landing page specifically going after the keyword law firm web design. This is another website that's going after web design for plumbers, and as you can see, dedicated page, and this is basically just going after that specific keyword. Now, another way that you can find a lot of top of funnel, so question-based keywords, and these are all pretty easy to rank for as well, is by doing either sitereddit.com and then your keyword. Like, for example, if you're a boiler installation company, you can obviously search this. And there will be a lot of different blog articles that you can actually publish. So, for example, how much should I be paying for a new boiler? How do you choose a boiler? These are all blog articles that you would actually want to go after if you were a boiler installation company. You can obviously Google some of these keywords as well. So if I just search that, how do you choose a boiler? And there are a lot of different guides. So which type of boiler is best for your home? What size boiler do I need? How to buy the best boiler? This would basically be the type of article that we would want on our website. So if I just click accept, so they're obviously then going into the different types. So we've got combi boilers, we've got system boilers, conventional boilers, etc. You can also swap out Reddit for Quora as well. So for example, what is a boiler and why is it essential for UK homes? Are Worcester boilers worth it? So this was more like of a review. What is the expected lifespan of a boiler? So again, if we just Google that keyword, what is the expected lifespan of a boiler? You'll see that a lot of websites are actually doing this method. So for example, we've got the heatinghub.co.uk and they've got a full-on article when it comes to boiler lifespans. They've actually put a lot of effort into that article. But that's exactly their strategy when it comes to doing keyword research. This is another example. So what is the difference between a boiler and a air conditioner? And this was a question 2 years ago. And as you can see, this website here, it has boiler versus air conditioning, which is more energy efficient for your home. Now, one thing that I would recommend when it comes to these Quora and Reddit keyword research methods is take a look and see how many people have actually commented on certain posts. Because in some cases, if you just go after every single one, it's probably not going to be worth your time and effort. Like for example, electric boiler costs are killing me. You can literally just grab this and paste it into ChatGPT and give it a... So all I've done is I've just copied that page title from Reddit. So electric boiler costs are killing me, I think. And then we've just used a very simple prompt. Electric boiler costs are killing me, I think. This is a Reddit post. Give me SEO article title that goes after this. Now, the reason why we want to go after articles or questions that get a lot of responses on Reddit or comments is because if one person is asking that and 50 people have obviously replied back to it, or in this case 130 people have replied back to it, it's a question that other people also have. Whereas if we were to take a look at, let's just go through and try and find one that's got barely any comments. So how to turn a boiler on, right? This is probably not going to be very beneficial for us because they've already got a boiler. They're not looking for a new boiler. Whereas should I get a combi boiler, that's got 80 comments. So it's a lot more active. So you always want to take a look at and see how active these questions are. Obviously, once we've run it through ChatGPT, it's actually came back with an SEO style article. So how much does an electric boiler really cost to run? A clear breakdown. And I can guarantee if we were to actually search this on Google, you will have articles going after that keyword. So electric boiler running cost per hour explained. So this is an electric combi boiler company that's actually written this article. So you can actually see that it's one of our competitors basically. Now, another way to find keywords to actually go after is by reverse engineering your competitor. So as we can see, we've got this website here. These guys, they sell boilers. Now, what we can do is we can actually go to their robots.txt file, grab their sitemap from here, and we can obviously just do a Control A, and we can use Notebook LM, or you could even use Claude as well. Claude does a reasonably decent job at this. We're just going to paste in the text here. This is going to take maybe like 1 or 2 minutes to analyze the entire text. Obviously, if it's a bigger sitemap, it might take a little bit longer. Then what we're going to do is we're going to click on Mind Map, and this is basically going to map out all of their web pages. So we can visually see which pages that they have and any pages that we are missing from our website. Let's say we already have a website with 20, 30 pages. We can quickly analyze these web pages that they actually have and recreate those for our website. So it's just finished. Now, if we click onto that, we can obviously see core areas. If we just full screen that, as you can see, they've got products, they've got installation, about page. They've also got certain products as well. So they've got all of these different boilers that we would obviously want to recreate on our website. They then also have product categories as well. So boiler / accessories. Then they have got certain products as well. So these are, I'm guessing these are accessories and controls, because these are not, so these are like thermostats and certain accessories to go along with boilers. Then they've also got like documentation and PDFs and stuff like that. So this will tell us exactly which articles that they are having on their website and which articles they're ranking on their website and which articles that we also need as well. So that has been my video on how to do free keyword research. This is exactly what I would be doing when it comes to reverse engineering and finding out which articles that my website needs from a topical authority point of view. If you guys haven't already, download mySEO.app, or if you want to work with me, head over to casualdash.com, fill in the contact form, and I will be in touch. Thanks for watching.